Hi, my name's Phil. I like talking about politics, and in this video, I'd like to go over my thoughts on a new tool which deals with a problem I do get asked about a lot in the comments. For those who want to use their local election votes next week to send a national message that the Tories are an endangered species, how do I best use my vote tactically? It's easy for me to explain in general elections, not so easy in local elections. Fortunately, a widely approved web tool has just launched for this express purpose. But first, if you'd like to be notified of daily news in politics, please subscribe to the channel. So I'm going to split this video essentially into two parts. The first part is for those who definitely want to vote tactically, for whom there is a reliable way to use those votes. I'm going to explain how the tool works. After that, I'm going to explain why it may not be able to help everyone, what you may still be able to do if you want to vote tactically. Obviously, there will be some people out there who will want to use their votes for, say, local issues. That's fine, it is a local election. Or they will feel strongly against tactical voting. Again, that's fine. I'm not about telling people how to vote. I would really just urge people to please vote. Even if you don't want to vote for a candidate, spoil your ballot, but go and vote. But I know there are a lot of people who do want to vote tactically, because people will say, you know, I'm in this area, what should I do, blah, 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 who should I vote for? You know, especially when the current government are behaving so destructively. And so for those people, this is your best bet. So the tool, first of all, there's a link in the description below, but it is the stopthetories.vote. It does what it says on the tin. It's a tool designed to unite people who wish to use their vote to take a stand specifically against the Tories. It does so by recommending which candidate from either Labour, the Liberal Democrats, or the Green Party to support with each of your votes in Britain. It doesn't make any recommendations for smaller parties or for independent candidates. I'll discuss that later. It's also not intended for use in Northern Ireland because there's no Tories there. There's none in the Conservative Party there anyway. It's a tactical voting tool specifically to rally votes around one of the big three progressive parties who are in direct competition with the Conservatives for the specific set of local elections taking place next week. So in theory, using the tool is easy enough. You put your postcode in. If your postcode is split between two wards, as it sometimes is, you'll then have to select your specific address from a drop-down menu. Nothing's recorded. It will then advise you which candidates to select in order to maximise the chance of defeating the Conservative candidates in your area. Obviously, this works best if others in your area are voting the same way. So if you know other people who would also like to use their vote tactically, might be an idea to share the tool with those as well. Okay, so let's have a little look at some of the other features directly on this website. So few things. You can get a reminder. You can put your email address in there, get reminders. Browse councils is the most interesting feature. You may just browse through this through interest, as I have been doing, or you may know people elsewhere in the country or elsewhere in your council, and you want to sort of say to them, oh, by the way, do you know about this? Or do you know in your area is a target? For example, I live in North Lincolnshire. I'll go through the stages here. The first one are the top targets. These are the ones that could easily flip. They're currently controlled by the Conservatives, these councils, but they can easily flip. Tactical voting will help. The second one are the ones where the Tories have got a big majority. You're probably not going to flip these councils, although you could flip individual seats. But there could be interesting things happening. I'll go over one of those. And then these are the ones that are not Conservative councils at the moment. And it shouldn't be a bit. Many of the ones in here you would expect are not going to give you much in the way of recommendations because they're already not controlled by the Conservatives. Obviously, you don't want to make a mess of it and find that they do. So, for example, I live in North Lincolnshire here. It's given for many of them. In fact, for most of them, it's given you who you would vote for. You can see it's mostly Labour. It's not always. There's some Green Party candidates who are better placed to remove the Conservative candidates there. But you may know someone, say, somewhere else, and you may go, okay, I know this. I used to live in North East Lincolnshire. And you may look at something like this, Immingham. I used to live in Immingham. And so, oh, did you know that actually, if you vote for the Labour candidate, you are more likely to displace the Conservative candidate there. So you may know some other people and you could share this with. And finally, a downloader poster. If you wanted to get much more active in your area, don't print the thumbnail, click on it and open up PDF for you. If you wanted to print this out and put this out anywhere for people to tear off the tag or copy the QR code to get to the website, then you could do that as well. And if we just go back here, there's also, you can also share on social media as well as donate to the organisation if you wanted to. Now, due to the nature of local elections, which are way more messy than general elections, this tool may not give you recommendations at all. You may put your postcode and it goes, don't know. There are roughly 3 reasons why this may be the case. The first is that the Conservatives are not expected to win in your ward anyway. As I say, the purpose of the tool is to unite votes against the Conservative wins, nothing more. So if it looks like it's between, say, Labour and the Liberal Democrats, it's like, vote for who you want. Because it's not, the Tories aren't going to win this seat. Second reason would be if independent candidates are muddying the waters. Now, in 2019, which is the last time many of these seats were contested, over 600 were won by either independent or candidates representing very, very fringe parties. I don't even mean UKIP. If you were to count UKIP and things like that, you'd be talking like 800 seats were won from these sort of things. So, in other words, what I'm saying is, like, independents or people representing very, very, very small parties do win seats in local elections. The people putting this tool together obviously are not able to have that detailed local knowledge needed to work out which independent or minor party might have a serious chance of beating the Conservatives. The other thing to bear in mind is many independent candidates are actually Tories who were kicked out of the party for being a bit too racist or violent, even for them. And you may not want to switch your vote to those either. The third reason is that voting intention is split so evenly between the progressive parties that it is tough to call which one the tactical votes should line up behind. So rather than just plump for one, it just says, we're not sure. So if the tool does not have a recommendation for you, but you still want to use your vote tactically, there's a couple of things that can be done. First of all, local knowledge. Do you have enough local knowledge to know realistically which one it is? If so, then try and advise others who may want to as well. If you're unable to identify a groundswell of opinion as to who the best anti-Tory bet is, then you may have to just vote for the party you prefer to win. But there is another possibility I'll come to. But given that this tool is about maximising the damage to the Conservatives nationally, what this is about, it's not about defeating every Conservative everywhere in these local elections and leaving them with none, because that's not realistic. It's about just flipping as many tight contests as possible. The Conservatives are already on course to suffer net losses in the hundreds. The Conservative Party chair, Greg Hans, who's coordinating the Tories' campaign efforts, says that they expect to lose about 1,000 seats. Now, whenever the party in government is on for a hiding in the local elections and they give a figure for expected losses, it's always deliberately an overestimate. And they did it last year as well. The reason is so that when the real figure isn't as bad as they said it would be, they can then say that their campaign added value. In fact, actually, they were so ridiculous last year with what they expected. They actually claimed they were going to lose more seats than they even had to begin with. But there you go. So what they intend to do, let's say they think they're going to lose 800 seats. So they say they're expecting to lose 1,000. So when they lose 800, they go, oh, well, our campaign was actually really good. We did well. Pat on the back to us. We'll still learn lessons, of course, and we'll be even better for the next general election. If, however, they suffer significantly more than the 1,000 losses, then the reverse argument can be made by opponents. It can be claimed that, well, you were expecting to lose 1,000 and you've lost 1,200, so your campaign actually made matters worse. The Conservatives start getting worried, bicker amongst themselves, make their defeat at the next general election more likely. That is the main benefit of tactical voting for local elections. If it has an impact, it weakens Tory party unity. And although local elections are messy, results are often very tight. Just a dozen voters shifting to a different party can make the difference in some wards. So this is the other thing you can do. If you want to vote tactically, the tool doesn't give you a recommendation. Another thing you can do, I mean, if you've just got a group of friends who would also like to vote tactically, and let's say there isn't really a groundswell of opinion as to what to go for, just agree amongst yourselves which other progressive party or candidate to go for and go for them. Because there'll be wards where if just like a dozen people who might ordinarily split their votes amongst, here, there and everywhere, if they were all to get behind one particular horse, might just nudge it over the line, because some of these things are going to be decided by very few votes. A ward is way smaller than a constituency. There's not that many people voting in them. So a sizable group of friends, pub buddies even, just deciding to vote for the same candidate can absolutely make the difference. Other benefit is that more people know about this tool. If that happens, it'll really come into its own for the general election. See, tactical voting for general elections is way easy to call. I can easily tell people who they should vote for in a general election when the election comes along, once the candidates are decided. It's not as simple as looking at who came second last time. The 2021 by-election should have taught us that. It's not that simple. Sometimes it might be the one that came third that you should back. But if lots of people know about this tool, even if it's of no use to them next week, either because their area is just not voting, or if it just wasn't able to identify a particular candidate for them, it will absolutely have recommendations for any seats contested by the Tories, that'll be in Britain, in next year's general election. Of course, if Sunak does delay the general election beyond next May, which some people are talking about, but I remain sceptical of, then there will be another set of local elections next year as well. Finally, for those unsure about what they think about tactical voting, all I would say is it helps all progressive parties, all of them. If lots of people do it in areas where their own party has no chance, everyone gains. Labour, the Liberal Democrats and the Greens will all increase their haul of seats next week. And all those bonus seats will be at the expense of the Conservatives, because that's all this tool focuses on. For Labour in particular, there is an added bonus as well, because not only will they gain more councillors, but when people are picking through the results next week in the national media, when they're looking at the national picture, there will be three figures they focus on. First, the net gain for Labour. Well, this number increases with tactical voting. Second, the net loss for the Conservatives. Well, that number also increases with tactical voting. Third, the difference in seats won between Labour and the Conservatives. Well, this number increases substantially with tactical voting. And all of those things increase the chances of Labour winning enough seats to bring some real change after the general election next year. But there we are. Those are my thoughts. Let me know yours in the comments below. I think I'll be talking more about what to look out for in the local elections in the stream this Saturday evening, because there are a few interesting things to watch out for. I hope you found the video interesting. If you did, please click the like button. And if you'd like to support the channel further, the join button for memberships. And until next time, I'll see you later.